Hello, everyone, and welcome to lucky episode 13 of my Pecos Wilderness series. Today, I'm going to be doing a hike that I call the Pecos Triangle Loop. It's going to be about 30 miles, and I'm going to give it 4 to 5 days just in case. I think there might be a lot of route finding and down trees, obstacles, things like that. So, it should be an interesting hike. Let's get to it. To get to the trailhead, take New Mexico 76 east from the town of Chimayo until you get to the Cordova turnoff. Turn right through Cordova, and about halfway through Cordova, take another right across a bridge onto Forest Road 440. Drive up the hill and take a left on Forest Road 306 and follow that until you get to the turnoff to the Borrego trailhead that is well signed. Follow this low-maintained road for about 3/4 of a mile to the trailhead. If the season is incredibly wet, two-wheel drive vehicles are not recommended on this road. It is highly rutted and it does get muddy in the wet weather. From the trailhead, the trail goes west for about a 1/4 mile. When you come to a sign that points away from the road you were following, that's where you turn south and the trail goes down the hill through the burned area. The trail goes downhill for about a mile until you get to the Rio Medio crossing. From there, the trail heads due south up the Rio Gallina drainage. After about a mile, there is supposed to be an intersection with Trail 227. However, I did not see this intersection on the ground. The trail continues up the canyon past some private land until it reaches the intersection with Trail 156, the Sierra Mosca Trail. The Borrego Trail continues for a few more miles until it reaches the top of the ridge and an intersection with the Agua Sarca Trail. However, it is signed the Rio Gallina Trail. From the top of the ridge, the trail descends down to the Agua Sarca and then traverses the ridge until it reaches another saddle and then descends down to the Rio Frijoles. Turn right for 0.2 miles and then turn left back on the Borrego Trail where the crossing of the Rio Frijoles is. Then the trail continues up a canyon heading south. Again, you'll reach another saddle and then the trail descends the drainage below. The trail then follows the canyon all the way down to Rancho Viejo. At Rancho Viejo, the trail kind of faded into cow trails and grassland, but just keep going down through the oaks, cross the Rio Capulan, and the trail is right on the other side. Take a left on the Rio Capulan Trail. Rancho Viejo is private property, so please respect private property rights. The Rio Capulan Trail heads northeast up the canyon at a pretty steep rate. It'll climb about 2,000 feet in about 3.5 miles. This canyon is burnt over and extremely hot. This trail is not recommended on summer months. Finally, you'll reach the top of the hill at a saddle where the fire burned area ends, and you'll head downhill to meet up with the Rio Frijoles Trail. Turn right on the Rio Frijoles Trail and follow it through the Panchuella West Valley. You'll pass an old Forest Service cabin on your left at the end of the valley. Keep going and it'll eventually turn into a burned over area. The following 4 miles or so are the toughest to navigate in this whole hike. The best way to get through it is to first follow the creek up to the top of the hill. Stay to the right side of the meadow at the top of the hill, and you'll go across a saddle and begin descending down a really heavily burned area with many downed logs. Eventually, you'll just have to follow the creek down to the Rio Medio Trail. Even where the burned area ends, there are still many blowdowns. When you reach the Rio Medio Trail, take a left. Now you're going west about 6 miles back to the trailhead. You know you're in a remote part of the wilderness when the trailhead looks like this. So the trail starts out in a burned over area that just has some little bits of scrub oak, really. And we're going to cross the Rio Medio, which is the first canyon down there, and then head due south up that canyon that you see in the distance. And that's the Borrego Trail. And it looks like we'll be entering a ponderosa pine forest here pretty soon. There's occasional patches of mountain mahogany along here too. Here is the stream crossing of the Rio Medio. And even right now in this extreme drought condition we're having, it's still flowing pretty good. If I crossed right here, I'd probably get my feet wet. So I'm gonna go downstream a little bit and cross on some logs. Alright, so I went ahead and stopped down here, took a little break, got some water, or filled up my water bottles in the creek. And looking around, there's plenty of campsites down here. A good way to do this trail would be to hike in the 1.5 miles or whatever it is down here to the bottom, camp down here, and then start fresh the next day. Especially if you're traveling from out of town or something and it takes you a little while to get here. There are campsites down here close to the trailhead just to get a jump start on the hike. This is interesting. This is an elm tree, specifically a Siberian elm, commonly referred to out here as a Chinese elm. And it's not native, it's an invasive species. Show you a close-up of its leaves. This is the only one I've seen in the Pecos Wilderness. The trail goes right through a clump of barberry bushes, probably the biggest barberry bushes I've ever seen. You'll know they're barberry because they've got some nasty little stickers on them. I don't know if you can see those, alright? The Borrego Trail is kind of interesting because it was once used for people of Truchas and Chimayo to take their sheep to market, so it was made by shepherds. I just went through a burned section and now there's a little creek crossing here. I decided to fill up on water down at the main river because this is a pretty small stream and I'm only going like 5 or 6 miles up to its source and it might dry up before then. So I just want to make sure that I have a couple liters of water on me. Now the trail's following the stream pretty closely. And we have another stream crossing, and the stream is full of leaves at the moment. And there's a big cliff to my left, And it looks like the trail goes up the opposite bank from here. I've been passing through some nice little forested flat areas. I keep telling myself, it's probably just a bobcat, no big deal. But after looking at this track, I'm pretty sure that's a mountain lion. And I've seen a lot of coyote tracks here too. Some elk sign and some turkey sign. There are some really nice specimens of ponderosa pine through here. I've seen a lot of really old fences through here. They must have been erected before this became a wilderness area. The first aspens I've seen across the way there, and they still have green leaves on them. Some more aspens down there for just a little tinge of fall color. A lot of little openings through here. And they've been grazed to death by cows. Here's a survey marker right next to the trail. They didn't pound it in very far. Alright, here's a trail junction. And we're coming up to the Sierra Mosca Trail. And we're going to continue south on the Borrego Trail, which goes that way. Okay, the trail has been contouring gradually up the hill, sometimes moderately steep, but we're going through dense forest right now. And I thought the fall color was over. Okay, up here the aspens have pretty much lost all their leaves, and it looks like the trail might be flattening out. We might be getting to the end of this canyon, and then it'll be over to Agua Sarca, I think, is the next little stream. I'm up just before the top, and there's evidence of a recent fire through here. I don't know if it was this year or a couple years ago, but definitely a fire. And I may have a little obstacle on the trail there. Let's see if I can get him to move. So this is an interesting area. It's the top of a little pass here. There's a trail junction sign there, and the creek that I was following turns and heads east up the hill to its source. Of course, it was dry. It was just intermittent. Yikes, there's more cows. That scared me. I just heard branches breaking, and this guy's coming this way. Oh, it says Rio Medio Trail. Huh. and it heads up the hill that way. And my trail goes down this steep canyon here, down to the Argusarca. This guy's not afraid of me. This might be the extent of the wildlife footage I get for this trip. Anyway, the other trail goes up that way as well. And it's time for me to get the heck out of here, away from the cows. Pretty little canyon through here. This is just over the ridge from that trail junction. This neat little creek right here is Argusarca, and right up here is where the trail crosses. And that's a beautiful little canyon in here. Got more beautiful fall trees. I think I caught this at the right time. Pretty close to optimal. And let's keep going down this trail. Now, I don't know why there's an old wilderness boundary sign right here along the trail. It's pointing in towards the trail. Maybe we're right along the wilderness boundary, I don't know. I'll have to look at the map to see, but the wilderness boundary should be further south down that way. After traversing the hillside for quite a while, it appears I'm heading to another saddle or another pass. Okay, I'm up here on top of that little pass, and I have about a mile to go down the hill, down a steep hill towards the Rio Frijoles. And I think that's where I'm gonna camp for tonight. It'll be about 7.1 miles, I think I calculated. So, pretty easy day. It's been a nice trail. It's been well maintained. I only had maybe 2 logs to step over the whole way. So it's been a good day, and it's been a lot prettier than I thought it would be too. So I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy about all the aspens and the fall color. And it's been a great hike so far. Let's keep going. I just came from that way, and I'm going this way, and it's time to find a camp. Alright, unfortunately this is not gonna work. I thought there'd be a flat camping spot up there, but there is not. And the last one I saw was about 0.2 miles up the trail that way, up the creek. So I think that's where I'm gonna have to go, which means I have to cross the creek again. Anyway, here we go. Okay, this is an example of what not to do. This is where I'm gonna camp. Now, somebody's camped here before, and I'm sure it's just because there's nowhere else to camp along here. But the trail's right here, the stream's right there, and you're too close to both. You're not really supposed to do this, but I feel like I have no choice. If I keep going, it's another 3.2 miles to the next stream. And by the time I get there, it'll be dark, and I can't do good trail descriptions in the dark. I want to give you a decent trail description for the video and for my book, so I'm kind of stuck. I have to camp here. Alright, I've got camp set up, including my bear bag hung. I'm not quite ready to eat dinner. It's only about 5 o'clock. So I'm going to take an hour just to kind of scurry upstream and check out the Rio Frijoles here. It's a pretty nice creek. It's flowing pretty well considering we're in extreme drought, and I've seen a number of trout in it already, so let's go check it out a little further. Alright, this is my dinner and dessert. Of course, it's shepherd's pie since I'm on a sheep herder's trail. And it's just Idahoan potatoes, beef jerky, and veggies. Dehydrated veggies. And of course, Toblerone for dessert. Okay, everybody, I guess this concludes another day. I'm not going to do any more filming, so I'll see everyone in the morning. Have a good one. We've got a really pretty little sunrise starting to flare up in the trees over to the east. Beautiful. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2. Today the plan is to keep heading down the Borrego Trail until I reach the Capulan Trail. There I'll take a left. I can't complete the Borrego Trail because there is a fire closure currently. The Rio Medio fire is actually marked by the boundary of the Borrego Trail, I believe. So anyway, at the Capulan Trail I will take a left and follow that up, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles probably, until I find a good campsite. If I feel better, maybe I'll go farther, I don't know. We'll see what the day has in store for us, but should be a fun day. I'll get some breakfast and we'll head out. Oh man. It's a little tough camping this time of year, just because the nights are so long. The night was probably dark from 7 to 7, so precisely 12 hours. And that's a long time to lay in bed. I can't have a campfire right now because there's fire restrictions. So, without being able to stay up and have a fire for light, the only thing you can really do is lay down in your tent and stay warm in your sleeping bag. And that's what I did last night. Alright, one last look at camp this morning. And everything seems to be in order. It's as clean as a whistle. So let's head on down the trail. And I'm starting out in my sandals because I have to cross a stream here in 0.2 miles. And then I'll change into my hiking boots. It's definitely a pretty stream. I should have filmed it more last night too. It's got some little holes where I've seen some trout swimming around. It's a beautiful spot. Okay, Okay, I'm on kind of semi-rocky trail here, going up a interesting little side canyon. I just crossed the canyon bottom here, and there's a little gate that I'm going to have to go through. And it looks like I have to cross back to the other side of the canyon there just after the gate and go under that snag. According to my thermometer, the temperature was about 30 degrees as I started. It's the first little bit of sun that's hit me this morning. Pretty nice. And there's some huge aspens in here. There is a really cool little opening there across the ravine. If you have water and can make a dry camp, that would probably be a good place to camp. Okay, there is a little trail that goes over to that clearing too. And even now there's water in the creek there, so I think it probably flows more earlier in the year and that sort of thing. So you probably, and this is severe drought up here too, so you'll probably be able to find water just about any time here. Good place to camp. Now I know. Could you imagine driving a herd of sheep up through this? What an adventure, just doing your job, just taking your product to market. And as you can see, a little side note here, the trail crews have done a wonderful job of keeping the trail clear. Here's a little bit of a boggy spot in the trail. There's plenty of branches to step on. But check out, in the hoof prints, the water's frozen. Okay, it's been a bit of a steep climb through this section as the trail kind of veers away from the creek a bit. This little bird's nest was on the trail. Looks like I'm getting up to the top here. Let's see what's on the other side of this ridge. Yeah, there's a saddle here and an old fence line, and the trail goes down another ravine. This is kind of a cool little drainage I'm walking into. This is the trail I'm following right now, between some service berries and oak. This is kind of a cool multi-layer aspen forest with Doug fir and white fir over the top. I'm having a good time this morning. I'm so glad there's still some fall colors out here. Fall colors makes me happy. Okay, I'm kind of coming out into a small alluvial plain here. Some big old trees around. Most of them are damaged or broken though, or dead. But anyway, the trail's really faint through here. Just keep kind of going down the hill. You'll hash it out. Take your time. You'll find the trail. Big old ponderosa pines through here. Wow, look how old this sign is. That's a very loud bull running away from me in the distance. This is kind of a pretty little spot in here. Now I'm coming out into a bit of an opening in an aspen flat. Look at this old stand of ponderosa pine. This is what the forest around here used to look like hundreds of years ago. Okay, as I look down this opening, it looks like we might be near an area called Rancho Viejo, which is kind of the southwest corner of the triangle that I'm hiking. So we're almost to the trail junction with the Capulan Trail, and that is where I will turn left and head back towards the Rio Frijoles. Okay, I'm pretty sure that we are at Rancho Viejo now. We just came from up in this direction. And down here into the flats, I lost the trail. It's kind of braided and there's cow trails and all kinds of things going on down here. So I'm just going to try to find the Capulan Trail or a trail sign or something down here and get back on track. Okay, this has definitely got to be the Rio Capulan, and I believe the trail is just up the hill on the other side in that opening there. And lo and behold, the trail was even closer than I thought it was. And in fact, I have been to Rancho Viejo here, just a little ways down the trail. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about this area, this is a private property in holding in the forest, in the middle of Forest Service land, so no camping or campfires or going off trail. Just, try to stick to the trails if you can. I know I kind of had to go cross country there for a little while because the trail faded out, but just please try to respect private property values here. And now I know I'm on track because I found an actual trail junction sign. And it seems like the trail goes that way, but man, that's been washed out and trees fallen, and I don't think it's usable anymore. Just do what I did. When you get to the end of the opening, go kind of left through the oaks and cross the stream, and the trail is right across the stream. Okay, this isn't actually pointing the exact route, but it's leaning up against a tree because the bottom's rotted out. But the closed section of the Borrego Trail, where all the deadfalls are, is that way. The Rio Capulan Trail heads that way to Rancho Viejo, and then crosses the stream and goes up this way. And that's where I'm heading. Look at this old piece of machinery here. I wonder what this was off of. I also forgot we dropped out of the wilderness for just a little bit. And now we're heading back in. It looks to me like somebody or something had grouse for dinner. Oh, this is a nasty hot area. It may not be a good place to hike midsummer, but it's pretty right now. Okay, so this probably isn't one of the most scenic areas to hike through. It's really been damaged by fire through here. But the aspens are coming up in about 20 years. It's going to be beautiful. Alright, that's the canyon from where I came from. So I've been climbing steadily up this canyon through this hot burned area, and I see no end in sight. I hope you can hear me over this wind, but this is the way I just came, and as you can see, it's not so much a trail as just an area that's been cleared to hike through. So, and then here's the little valley that I'm going through right now, and I think up there at the top is Redondo Peak, and Lake Johnson's behind that, and this, I think, is the trail. Okay, I had lost the trail in a clearing a little bit ago, so I just kind of kept going till I found the trail again. It's just kind of a mess through here, as you can see. A little stream crossing. Pretty steep climbing up right here, but it's kind of a pretty area. Whew. I can't believe I'm finally getting closer to the end of this. This trail has gone on forever. Here's the canyon I had just hiked up. As you can see, I'm almost to the top, but it's taken forever because this is the trail I'm following. I'm just following the cut down aspens and stuff. Alright folks, I finally got over that little pass and I'm out of the burn. Whew, and it's much cooler and nicer. And there's a trail now, an actual dug trail. Much better situation. However, my main camera ran out of batteries and it looks like I forgot to pack the extra. I just checked my electronics bag and they are not there. So, looks like this one's not going to be in 4K, so sorry folks, I tried. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. It should only be a little ways further, maybe a mile at the most, down to the Rio Frijoles. The trail's much nicer, but there's still some obstacles, like these that I just went over. It appears that the trail crosses this nice little stream here, and then meets up with another trail right there. I don't see a trail sign though, but I believe it's the Redondo Peak Trail. Okay, I've come down into this nice little valley. The Rio Frijoles is right here. Looks like I have to rock hop across it over to that fence over there, and I see a signpost. So let's go check it out. So in this direction is Panchuella West, and that's where we're going. That's where I want to make my camp tonight. This is becoming a really pretty stream up here. Are you seeing this too? There's some decent sized trout in these waters. Look at that guy there. And that guy there. Very nice. Should have brought my fishing gear. Looks like there's a nice campsite across the creek from here. And we are crossing the creek again. Man, there's some big fish in here. Those are good size. Through this opening, just past the stream crossing, it's a little hard to find your way. I can't really see a trail here. But as you get close to the end, you can kind of see a trail through the trees there. Okay, it just came from that direction. And I'm up on top of a little bald hill looking out over a pretty little valley. Okay, if you get lost going across this meadow or lose the trail, that is, just cross the creek, follow it along the edge for a little ways, and you'll see this old trail junction sign here. And it looks like the trail we want goes up the hill there. I don't know where this other trail goes. Okay, I believe I was mistaken. I think it's unnamed trail number 6 that goes up the hill, and we keep going straight. God dang, now there's 2 bulls. Big ones too. And of course they're going in the direction that I am. A horseshoe on the trail. And a pair of 2,000-pound bulls. Going the same way I am. Thanks, guys. I'm cowboy camping tonight. I'm a little embarrassed to say so, but I kind of have to. My tent pole slid out the back of my pack. And so, yeah, no tent poles. Kind of sucks. It's the stark hour of 6:30 and I'm in bed, trying to stay warm as the temperature drops below 40 degrees. Okay, I'm being way too dramatic. Anyway, I think that's it for filming tonight, and I just wanted to say good night. I'll see you in the morning. It's just a little frosty out this morning. What do you think, below 20? So it did get a little cold last night. Check that out. That's frozen solid. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 3. Today is going to be a big day. I'm thinking of just heading on out and going all the way out to my car. That would make it about a 13-mile hike. I've done 17 miles already, but that's in 2 days. The problem is the daylight. It doesn't stay daylight long enough. But I do have a headlamp. I can walk the last 3 miles, which is a road walk, in the dark. So let's give it a shot. See where I end up. Also, I didn't talk about yesterday all that much. Honestly, it was kind of a miserable day. As soon as I got to that burn area, the temperature shot up to 80 degrees, and there was about a 2,000-foot climb to get up over that little pass. So it was a hot, miserable afternoon. Of course, it was midday when I did it. That's kind of what happened there. I lost my tent poles. I found out that I didn't pack my batteries. It was just kind of a bad day. But today is going to be better, and last night made up for it. Stargazing last night was some of the most awesome stargazing I have ever seen. I saw tons of meteorites. I saw, satellites. It was really interesting. One of the meteorites even was bright enough that it set off kind of a glow even after it had passed on some clouds in the distance back that way. It was a pretty neat thing. I've never seen that before. That was pretty neat. I guess it's time to get started and head my 13 miles out. Here is an old signpost, and I think the trail I don't want takes off that way and goes up that canyon there in the distance. That should be Panchuella West, and my trail heads up this way. Let's check it out a little further here. Yeah, it's trail 243 to Horse Thief Meadow. So it basically just goes over the pass there to Horse Thief Meadow where it meets up with the Skyline Trail. Turkeys. I'm glad I've got my zoom lens. I've seen turkey sign all through here. Feathers and droppings. Pretty cool. Looks like a good flock. Okay, so through that meadow, it's hard to see the trail. Just head for this old gate. The trail goes right through that, it appears. They are right there on the trail. I don't know if you could see their heads bobbing up and down there. See, there's another one. Turkeys. Look at all those turkeys out there. And I saw the turkeys here, right at this old cabin here. Look at this place. I think this used to be a workstation for the Forest Service a long time ago. Doesn't look like it gets much use now. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this through the glass and mesh, but it looks like a bear got in there and absolutely just trashed the place. Okay, the trail's a bit hard to find through the meadow, but if you go to the south side, or actually the downhill side, it follows right along the edge of the downhill side and then kind of goes behind the spruce tree. The spruce tree is hiding it. Now the trail is going down the underside of a burn, and it's a horrible trail. I don't know if I'm just following a cow trail or what, but we'll see as I get up a little further. Okay, that was not a trail, it was a cow trail, although it was fairly maintained. Somewhat. But here is obviously the main trail. It must have dropped down into the meadow where I went up to the cabin. Not far after my last shot, I'm now heading through a meadow. And it's a bit swampy in here. Notice there's some cows hanging out up there. So I think I'm going to have to go around this somehow, or just through it and get my feet wet. It was hard to tell when you come into the meadow, but the trail actually goes up and around that swampy spot. I didn't take that way because there were some cows up there. Okay, this guy is kind of snorting at me. I don't like that. I better keep going. Oh, it's a girl. She's very nervous though. Okay, what I wanted to say when the cow interrupted me is that I honestly have no idea where the trail is through here. I'm just kind of going uphill on the cow paths as best I can, following the creek, because I think that's the way the trail goes. And we'll see if I find it. Even though this area is burned over, it's still kind of pretty in its own way. Okay, just going off the topography, it looks like I'm supposed to stay to the left of this little peak right here, and then the pass I want is up through there, and it'll go downhill along a creek from that side. So, because I don't really trust the trail I'm heading on, and this is it, it's like, what trail? I'll just use the topography as a guide if I can't find the trail. I may actually be on the trail again because there are stobs of cut trees here. Maybe a fire line too, I don't know. But I'm seeing evidence of a trail. Well, at least until there. Check this out. This log's been cut and cleared. And there's a little hole right there. And maybe one further up. Could this be the trail? I actually found it through all this? I mean, look at this. Let's keep going and try to find out where I am. So I'm just following the creek here at this point, because it looked like the trail followed the creeks on the map, so that's what I'm doing. And there's, I don't know, kind of a route through here, more than some of the other areas. The trail could be way over there in that valley, but it's hard to tell. I'm just going to use the map and topography and do the best I can. Look at this. Just a little way after I said I couldn't find the trail, I found the trail. Going up the hill right here. And I was right, it did go through that valley. I just took a little shortcut, that's all. Whew. Look at that view. I'm really climbing up here. I came from down in that valley there, from just before the burned area. Okay, there is a cairn here in the middle of all this burn. And I think the trail is going across that dead branch and going that way, but it's really hard to tell. And this may even be a trail junction with the Sierra Mosca Trail. That may be it going that way, but who knows? It's so destroyed out here. It's making navigation fun. Alright, I find myself in a meadow area here. And it seems like the trail goes right next to it, at least for a little ways. Otherwise, I'm lost. Who knows where the trail goes? Oh, I think it might go up that way actually right now. Doesn't look like it follows the meadow anymore. Anyway, it's all route finding, a lot of route finding. Check it out, I'm up on top of the divide now, and there's views of Truchas through the dead trees. And that's the Rio Medio drainage down below it, between here and Truchas Peaks. Okay, somehow I've stumbled upon the trail once again. And I know this for a fact because there's actually blazes on this one and a dug trail, but there's been no trail work here for a long time. Check it out, there's a burned blaze on that tree. I am still on the trail. Nice. Check this out. This must be what the Forest Service means by there was a wind event that destroyed the trail. Yet I'm still stupid enough to hike here. There's a deer. He's like, what the heck is this crazy person doing out here? I can't seem to find any more signs of the trail. So I think what I'm gonna do, after looking at the map, is head down to that drainage in front of me there and just follow that all the way down, because the trail eventually hits that drainage and follows it down anyway. So it's just the right thing to do in this situation. Look at this, another old trail blaze if ever I've seen one. And it looks like the trail crosses the creek right here. Yes, this is the trail. Here's a cairn in the stream bed area. Got some nice water flowing next to me. And I see a burnt out blaze on that tree up ahead there, so I'm still following the trail, believe it or not. Okay, the trail goes through here and it's really washed out. I'll have to find a way across this. Alright, that's where I came from. This is where I'm going. I think I'm just a little more than halfway down the mountain now. I'm telling you, it's brutal. Whew. Believe it or not, this has been one of the easiest sections coming down from the top of the ridge here. And then we've got the creek right below us. It's totally full of algae because there's no tree cover. to keep it cool. Kind of gross. I'm hoping to wait till I get to the Rio Medio to fill up on water. And this is the trail heading down. Looks like a deer with the antlers sawed off. Most likely a hunter. Oh man, it looks like the green trees are only about a quarter mile away now. I'm so happy for that. Oh, it looks like this little rocky gorge right here is the gateway to the green. At least I'm hoping. I honestly was hoping that the log issues would end once I got to the green trees. Alright, I made it past that. Now I've got to go through there. I actually see some signs of use here. I see a place where a tree has been cut, and I see a flag up there. Do you think maybe I'm almost in the clear? I keep hoping that. Let's find out. Hey, look at this. There's a campsite. I think I'm down to the Rio Medio Canyon. In fact, I think I see a trail sign right there. Check out this old bit of trail handiwork. Here's an old fence line, and the creek is washed right down to the trail. It looks like due to the fire, it's brought a lot of sediment and rocks and stuff down here. This mountain above us that you can see from the trail, I believe is called the Dome, and I can understand why. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rio Medio. And this is also my stream crossing here. Oh my lord, so nice to be on a real trail, in a deep canyon, in the forest, out of the sun. Oh, so much better. Maybe I'll make it after all. Alright everybody, I've made kind of a tactical stop here by the Rio Medio so I can refill my water, eat some food, take some ibuprofen, and decide whether or not I want to do the last 9 miles or not, because I'm already beat. But after a little food I'm feeling better. I think once the ibuprofen kicks in and I get rehydrated, I think I'll be in much better shape. So I'm gonna go for it. Why not? Alright, the trail takes me down to here, but there's nowhere to cross. So I come down to look a little further, and it looks like the trail goes that way. Interesting. Alright, the trail is climbed up the hill away from the stream. And this is a pretty hot, brutal southern exposure here, so I'm glad I refilled my water when I did. Whew. The trail keeps climbing up, but the river keeps going down. There are some humongous cliffs across the way there, so I know why the trail's on this side of the stream. Another little splash of fall color there. Climbing up and over a little spur ridge here. The trail is flattened out through here as it traverses the slope, and I'm still getting some splashes of color here and there, which is very nice. Looks like the trail traverses into this deep ravine here, and there's some more pretty colors up the hillside. There is water flowing in this little drainage here, so you might be able to fill up on water if you had to. cliffs across the stream there. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm cruising right along on this trail. It's fairly flat and even, not many rocks. And I'm able to make some time finally. Hopefully, well, I won't be able to make up for all the time I lost in that fire area, but hopefully I'll make up a little. Look at the trees down in the canyon there. Alright, after gradually descending for a while, I'm next to the creek again. Man, that's a remarkable specimen of ponderosa pine. Look how straight it is, too. That's just a beautiful tree. After a very short stint along the creek, it climbed back up the ridge again. And there's a really nice flat down here. I think, we're about 2.5 to 3 miles from the trailhead. And it looks like a great place to camp down there. I think there's a couple little slippery switchbacks that drop you into this flat. A little way past those switchbacks, there is a camp spot here. It's a little backlit, the color might come out a little funny, but that's a pretty narrow leaf cottonwood right there. Another big flat area, about a half mile further down the trail. It looks like there's a big cave or overhang under that boulder if you had to take shelter. And my trail is running that way on nice soft pine needles. Here's a little opening down at the bottom. Looks like just across the creek here in a nice little stand of trees there's a campsite. I see a fire ring. It'll be a little more hidden in the summertime when leaves are on the trees. Just a little note, I saw my first footprint since about the first mile of the Borrego Trail. I haven't seen any people, I haven't seen any footprints. It's definite wilderness out here. Alright, it looks like the trail's heading up the hill here steeply. We might be about a mile from the trailhead. Okay, my mistake. The trail just went up and around a steep bluff. But there's another campsite and an opening across the river here. And I'm going to continue down the trail this way. Okay, we're definitely veering away from the creek now and heading up this arroyo. Oh my lord, it's steep down to the river now. I don't know if you can see that down there. Alright, we're getting some evening sunlight on the hill as we're coming up onto Borrego Mesa. West Pecos Baldy through the trees. There it is, there's the road. And here we are at the wonderfully decorated kiosk. Alright, 3 more miles of a road walk back to the car. Here I go. Forest Service is doing a thinning project around Borrego Mesa campground. Pretty little clump of aspen here, and it's almost dark now. back at the car. Woohoo! And the moon's out. Trip information. The distance was 30 miles. The difficulty was extreme. Time required 2 to 5 days. Features forest, meadows, stream, wildlife. The season is March through October. Usage is very light. In additional notes, contact the Espanola Ranger District of the Santa Fe National Forest for current fire conditions and restrictions. Miles of these trails are non-existent. Only experienced hikers with nearly expert level navigation skills should attempt some portions of this hike. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell too. Thank you for watching.